What's up, guys? Simone Fan 101 here, and this is my Survivor Series review of 2016. Yes, I'm very well aware that last Saturday is far. Well, I don't know when I uploaded the Fastlane, not the Fastlane video, but the review for Hell in a Cell. I forget. I think it may have been last Tuesday or Wednesday. But I'm very well aware that I said I was going to try to do rapid fire reviews. Something came up, but I think at least you're not waiting several months for me to make another review, so that way I can. So yeah, you don't have to deal with that bullshit. What I'm gonna try to do is because I got daily homework and shit due to online schooling. So what I'm gonna try to do is that this is hopefully because of the fact that I'm not lazy. What I'm gonna try to do is to not fuck up, and yes, I'm gonna try not to fuck up. And what I'm trying to do is is gonna try to make a review every night. 'Cause what happens is when I try to upload a video at home, it basically sucks all the internet to it to try to do it. So I have to do it after my folks go to sleep. So what I'm going to do is uh I'm going to record a video after my daily homework and all that shit when like right now. And if I have the time, I can go to the library down the street and upload it there. Or if I don't have the time, I'll just do it after my folks fall asleep, and it should be recorded or uploaded by the morning. So that's how it's gonna go. Anyways, back to Survivor Series. Survivor Series 2016. Ooh. Uh, in terms of the actual match quality, not a bad show. But the booking of it was not exact. I wouldn't say it was absolutely dog shit, but it wasn't exactly the greatest either. Let's just get into it. We started off with a team. It was and this Survivor Series had a six match card. Um, the opening match was Team Raw versus Team SmackDown because that was the whole motif. It was for the women's, and this was the women's division of Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. Basically, captain being Charlotte and Sasha, I think they called it. And the other captain being for SmackDown being it was supposed to be Nikki Bella, even though Becky Lynch is the champion, which goes to show you who they think is the top dog in SmackDown. But okay, so here's what happened. I know I should just get into the match, shouldn't I? Okay, so all members of Team Raw come out, which is Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Alicia Fox, and Nia Jax. I'll give you four guesses. I'll give you five guesses as to which one does not belong in that list. Spoilers, it's Alicia Fox. Um, for Team SmackDown, it was Carmella. It was Carmella, Becky Lynch, um, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, and and it was supposed to be Nikki Bella, but Nikki got hurt. So we found her in the back. She was apparently injured, so the SmackDown team coach came out, and Natalia ended up taking Nikki Bella's spot. Probably for the better, I have to admit. Um, so here's what happened. Uh, as far as the match goes, it was a solid match. The one thing that pissed me off, and it was a recurring trend throughout in one of the other Survivor Series tag team matches, it was these fucking rapid fire eliminations. I forget how long the matches go, with the exception of the last two. Although I know all of them got a good amount of time, at least for normal matches. For Survivor Series matches, these matches didn't get the time that they should have. Especially the women's match. They were fucked here. Um, the women got rapid fire eliminations. The first elimination was Carmella. after she took a scissors kick from Alicia Fox, which, by the way, that move, not Alicia Fox's delivery. Maybe it was Carmella's. It was her position, but the move looked like shit. It barely looked like it hit her at all. And I'm not saying that in a it didn't hit her, but it looked like it hit her. No, it barely looked like it hit. She didn't even connect with her freaking boot. It looked like she connected with the back of her knee, and that is not a scissors kick. And it didn't even look like it hit her in the head. It looked like it hit her on her back. Yeah. Alicia Fox is no good compared to all the other women. She's athletic. I'll give her that. She's very athletic, but she's not anywhere compared to being a wrestler like Sasha or Bayley or Charlotte or Becky or Natalya. And after that, and this is where the rapid fire eliminations came into place. Alexa Bliss got the Twisted Bliss on Alicia Fox not long afterward, pinned Alicia. Then later on, now I'm forgetting the order here. I believe it was Naomi who, yeah, that's right, because Naomi was in. She was against Nia Jax. She did a crossbody from the apron to the outside towards the ramp, and Nia Jax just threw her around like a ragdoll and destroyed her out there, and Naomi was counted out. Then what happened? Oh yeah. Then Natalya came. No, not Natalya. Becky Lynch came in. She was wrestling Sasha Banks. Former best friends in NXT, The Boss. I remember their takeover match at Takeover. I believe it was Takeover Unstoppable. That match was awesome. Becky Lynch got the disarmer on Sasha Banks, and that really, at the time, that really surprised me because Sasha Banks is one of your biggest stars in terms of the women's division on both shows. But she's one of your biggest stars on Raw, especially in terms of the women's division. So, especially since as of recording this, they're currently building up Charlotte, Bayley, and Sasha triple threat match for the Raw Women's title as of recording this. You had what happened after that? Actually, no. Becky didn't tap out Sasha. I think she rolled her up. I think that's what happened. She rolled her up. Now I'm thinking of what happened after that with Nia Jax. I'll get to her in a minute. So what happened is, and then Natalya came in, and I have to admit, out of all the female wrestlers on the Raw SmackDown team, the one that did the most and the one that really got my attention was Natalya and Becky Lynch. Not saying the other three aren't any good, but we didn't get to. This goes to the very point why I hate that there was rapid fire eliminations. You don't have when you have rapid fire eliminations, you don't have a lot of time to showcase what you've got. You don't. I mean, you really don't. Naomi didn't do that much. Carmella did the most. I remember Carmella doing was a Bronco Buster. Although I would love to be on the other end of that. Naomi did a one or two high flying moves, including that cross body I told you about, and that was about it. Natalya and Becky Lynch were the only one, and Alexa Bliss. She did do a little bit, but it wasn't really that memorable. The ones I remember most was Natalya and Becky Lynch because those were the two that got the most amount of offense on Team SmackDown. Nia Jax was playing monster. Natalya I think she was going one-on-one against. It actually may have been Sasha Banks, but it easily could have been Charlotte. Because I remember at one point she did a power bomb, and I cannot remember the last time I saw a woman give another woman a power bomb. It doesn't happen all that much. At least not on the main roster. But yeah. And what happened after that was I know I'm getting skittish, remarks, but I just rewatched the pay-per-view in a rush. So even though I'm kind of rewatching these shows, I'm not entirely paying attention. So bear with me here. But I do remember I still have the ratings take down from what I've from my thoughts on the show at the time that it happened. So yeah, I still pay attention. I just, sometimes have a shitty memory. It's why when I usually did pay-per-view reviews, I did it immediately after the show was over in the next couple days because I remembered everything. See, now I'm forgetting shit. I hate it when I do that. But Natalya did very good. She was eliminated, I believe, and it wasn't Bayley eliminated. It may have been actually Nia Jax that eliminated Natalya. But I do remember that afterwards, while they were getting pounded on, Alexa and Becky got the disarm on Nia. Nia tapped out. And keep in mind, this is during Nia's quote-unquote undefeated streak, her singles undefeated streak that she had been building up for herself. You have, you have, it was a little bit of a shock, I will admit. Was it the wrong decision? Maybe. But, hey, it gave Becky a little bit of a something to give her cross. Although, personally, if you wanted to give somebody something, I would have given it to Alexa. Have Becky do a move on Nia Jax and have Alexa hit her with Twisted Bliss. I think that would have been cool. And pin her. Yeah, that would have been good. Then it came down to Charlotte and Bayley against Alexa and Becky. Charlotte quickly hit. Actually, no, it was Charlotte. It was Charlotte that eliminated Natalya. Charlotte and eliminated both Natalya and Alexa, respectively, with the big boot. Okay, listen, I get that sometimes, and here's the thing, maybe it's because she has her long legs, but after this, how many times do you remember her pinning anybody after using the big boot? None. That to me was stupid. You couldn't give them another move, like the figure eight, or I don't even remember Charlotte doing natural selection, or the figure eight, for that matter. Again, goes to the reason why I hate rapid fire eliminations. Because they didn't get enough time to do what they're usually known for. If you would have given them 10 to 15 more minutes, I will bet you that they would maybe not have wowed you like, say, in the male singles wrestlers Survivor Series elimination match, but it would have been better if they would have just gotten more time. Have Natalya go up against Charlotte for a few minutes and try to recreate some of that magic from NXT TakeOver a few years back. Or hell, have her go up against Sasha Banks. What a freaking great match that would be. Natalya and Sasha Banks. Or Natalya and Bayley. I'd pay money to see that. Afterwards, Bayley and Becky was on her own because Alexa was eliminated by Charlotte's big boot that is not a finisher. Which I guess in hindsight made Alexa look a little bit weak. But still, at least she's the champion now. But Bayley eventually at one point got the Bayley to belly. On not Alexa Bliss, on Becky Lynch. So Team Raw won the match with Charlotte and Bayley as your sole survivors. Charlotte then attacked Bayley after the match because apparently she's a bitch. We all know that. So that's the end of that. Overall, look, here's the thing. It was a good match, but the booking really hurt it. And it hurt the tag team match, but it really hurt the women. Speaking of booking, that leads to Sami Zayn and The Miz. Now, going into this pay-per-view, the Intercontinental Champion was not The Miz. The Intercontinental Champion was Dolph Ziggler. In fact, it was only the week before that Miz cashed in his rematch clause, and Dolph Ziggler lost the title. Well, that was for fucking nothing. So this is what they did. They built up Dolph Ziggler for a while. especially since the brand split. He fought Dean Ambrose for the WWE title at SummerSlam. It's so obvious that the only reason why he was in that spot was because nobody else was available. AJ and Cena were doing their own thing. Orton was going up against Brock Lesnar. And there was no other viable, and Bray Wyatt was not a viable contender at that moment in time, apparently. So, they were setting up a feud with him and Orton. So apparently that spot went to Ziggler. Okay. But here's the thing. This is what they did with both. It was an interesting idea. Have both the Intercontinental title and Cruiserweight title on the line against another brand's wrestler. For Raw, that was Sami Zayn. And SmackDown, it was going to be Dolph Ziggler. And going into this match that if we would have gotten Sami Zayn and Dolph Ziggler, that would have been pretty fucking awesome. Now, granted, the match itself, I'm talking about the match itself, Miz versus Zayn was actually a pretty damn good match, save for a shitty finish. But the Miz was not the guy that should have been going into the show. Hell, I kept on hoping, keeping what little hope alive that there was, that if Dolph Ziggler was not going to be in the IC title match, and that he got screwed yet again out of the Intercontinental title belt, Shane McMahon would see this. He would say, you know what? You got screwed over, so I'm going to give you my spot in the Survivor Series tag team match later on. In the Survivor Series match later on. See, that would have actually been good storytelling. That would have given Dolph Ziggler a reprieve. Instead, Dolph Ziggler was not on the card. You know who else wasn't on the card? The guy that Sami Zayn beat to get the shot at the Intercontinental title in the first place, which was Rusev. I feel bad for both Rusev and Ziggler. They were both gonna go somewhere. And then this little something called booking happened, and that fucked them over. So yeah, that was stupid. Sami Zayn and Miz, they had a really good match. I'm not gonna say that they didn't. Although there were some people who did not like the match, who thought it was a boring match. I personally really liked the match. Not surprising considering the fact that 2016 may have actually been the Miz's best year in WWE. As far as booking, matches, everything. Hell, he had the best 2 matches of his career that same year. The Fatal 4-Way with him, Cesaro, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. And the singles match with Dolph Ziggler at No Mercy. The month before. Yeah. Miz was on fire. But they should have given Ziggler a monicum of a run. Hell, have him drop it at TLC. He ended up losing the title. He ended up losing the ladder match at TLC anyway. Why not just have him drop it there? So yeah, instead you had Sami Zayn and Miz. They had a really good match. The finish is where it suffered, though. What happened was Sami Zayn had Miz in a figure 4 leg lock. And then we started, and without Miz tapping, we started to hear the bell ring. The camera goes to it, and it's Maurice. Maurice took the bell handle from the timekeeper and basically banged the bell to try to give a distraction, which ended up working. Sami Zayn's like, what the hell's going on? Obviously the Miz is trying to say that the timekeeper did, even though she obviously did it. Sami Zayn was like, what the hell's going on? Miz rolls Zayn up for the 1-2-3, and Miz retained the Intercontinental title. You know, that was really, really stupid. I mean, that was really dumb. That was really dumb. It was a really good match, and they fucked over the finish. If we would have gotten Sami Zayn and Dolph Ziggler, we would have had a great match with a clean finish. Most likely with Ziggler beating Sami Zayn, and what would have been somewhat of a big victory for him. Instead, Miz has to get the title back because he's the fucking Miz. They were going to build up to Dean Ambrose and the Miz at WrestleMania, Nikki Bella ended up nixing that plans after she said that she wanted to have a match with Cena, teaming with Cena at WrestleMania, presumably to retire. And they pretty much nixed any plans and the feud that was going on between Miz and Ambrose, which I was actually enjoying. I actually liked the feud between the Miz and Dean Ambrose. I was actually looking forward to that. And I was looking forward to some kind of match between them at WrestleMania. Or hell, if they wanted to do it, as bad as it may have it probably would have been with those two, Renee Young and Maurice, who they're not even really wrestlers. Maurice isn't anymore. But still, you get I get why they put the title back on him, because they were going to drop it to Dean in a big win at WrestleMania for him, since he never got a big singles win at WrestleMania. But like, looking back in hindsight, they should have kept the title on Ziggler, if only for another month. I would have been fine with it. Or hell, what I would have done, keep the title on Ziggler, have him go up against Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania. But then again, Baron Corbin is also going to have a match, so I can't argue too much about that. Yeah, so there goes my little bit of a mini rant on the fact that Ziggler was not in the match, because it would have made for a much better match and probably for a slightly better pay-per-view had that happened. Said we have to have heel versus face, because God knows we can't have a face versus face match. The next match on the card was the Survivor Series tag team match. The tag teams were on Raw. It was New Day, Cesaro and Sheamus, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, Primo and Epico, the Shining Stars. Why the fuck they were on the team, I have no idea. And Enzo and Cass. SmackDown had the tag team champions at the time, Heath Slater and Rhino, American Alpha, the Usos, Fabrice and Tyler Breeze and Fandango, and God, what was the other team that they had? It wasn't the Vaudevillains. It was the Hype Bros. The Hype Bros. No, I will admit, now, for those of you who have followed TNA and know of this team, I honestly kept on thinking they were called the Bromans, because the word bro is in their name. How can you not confuse them at one point? Especially since both teams were goofs at the time of their run. Anyways, to the match. This match has suffered from rapid fire eliminations, just nearly not as much as the women's match. Which means that there was not a flow in that match at all. Here, there was a little bit more of a flow, but not really. The first tag team that was eliminated was sadly not the Shining Stars. Oh no. It was not the Shining Stars at all. But it was Fabrice. Now, why do I say this? Because I'm a big fan of Tyler Breeze, especially how he was back in NXT. Ever since they brought him to the main roster, they completely screwed over his entire character. Vince took one look at him, waited a few weeks, and said, "This guy's not lighting my world on fire." So they canned him, which was so stupid. He had that match with Dolph Ziggler at Survivor Series. A match that Ziggler lost, which was good for Breeze, but that's the biggest win he would ever get in the main roster. After that, he'd be treated as a joke. But what pissed me off was that they eliminated Fandango. They did not eliminate Tyler Breeze. They eliminated Fandango. And of course, the rules of this match was that if one member of a team was eliminated, then the team itself was eliminated. So Tyler Breeze didn't even step foot in the ring. Hell, he didn't even know what the hell was going on. I feel bad for Tyler Breeze that this poor fucker can't catch a break. And it's totally not even his fault. Thankfully, we had a little bit of sanity when New Day ended up being eliminated, because they were the ones that eliminated Breeze. They ended up being eliminated almost immediately afterwards. So a shocking elimination early on for New Day, which actually in this case these two rapid fire eliminations, I hated what they did with Fabrice, but New Day it almost made sense. Almost. Why they didn't just do it to friggin' the Shining Stars, I don't know. To the fucking Shining Stars, who could possibly give a shit? But overall, this match ended up being a pretty good match. It was actually pretty fun, especially at the end. Although, again, the booking and the rapid fire eliminations got in the way of it being better than it could have been. The stars of this match were American Alpha. They hit a electric chair bulldog with the, I think it was in the Shining Stars, or it may have been, and that wasn't Enzo Cass, it was the Shining Stars. And it was a nice spot. So I'm not even gonna bother with the eliminations. Basically, the last two teams were the Usos and Cesaro and Sheamus. Now, of course, if it were me, it would have been American Alpha to get that final spot and have them go up against Cesaro and Sheamus for a few minutes. That would have been really, really awesome. But the fact that the Usos got the spot and still delivered, I'd say it's pretty good. So, Team Raw won. Cesaro and Sheamus got the win, so that was good for them. Because they ended up winning the tag team titles next month at the, I can't believe I'm saying this, Roadblock, end of the line. Roadblock, end of my ass. Bullshit. I'm kidding. No, but I think the right team won in terms of the actual team itself. Not Team Raw, Team SmackDown, but the team itself won. So, you look at the scoreboard, SmackDown, so, basically, Raw won clean the first match. SmackDown didn't win clean the second match. They did the cheat. In the third match, SmackDown, the Raw won. Same thing with the next match. Next match was Brian Kendrick defending the Cruiserweight title that he won from TJ Perkins at Hell in a Cell. Hang on a second. There we go. Pop up. Brian Kendrick was defending the Intercontinental. He wishes he was defending the Intercontinental. The Cruiserweight title at fixing the camera here against Kalisto. This is the other part, and the bargain here was big. If Kalisto won the Cruiserweight title, the entire Cruiserweight division would be drafted over to Raw, over to SmackDown, basically. Which apparently everyone was like, hell yeah, please give the title to Kalisto. It is a dead brand on Raw. And most recently, as of recording this, the Cruiserweights have been treated better since the beginning of 2017. When you look back in 2016, pretend the rest of 2016 never happened. We're still in 2016 in Survivor Series. Would you really want the Cruiserweights to stay on Raw? No! Hell, having the Cruiserweights be on fucking SmackDown would be actually a good segue to 205 Live. At least you'd have stars appearing in the same shows on the same night. It would feel different. But then again, they probably want matches like, say, Aries against Perkins on Raw and Aries against Rich Swann on 205 Live. So I get why they did that. This match was. Let me just see the rating for this one again, because I just rewatched the match. Yeah, this match was a lot like Team Charlotte, Team Becky. This match had a couple of good spots, but this was the problem with the Cruiserweight division back in November, was that they weren't given enough time on pay-per-view, and not on pay-per-view, but usually ever. And when they were given enough time, they had to phone it in. Like they were wrestling. They were WWE style matches. Let these guys work their own style. When you restrict them from working their own style, they do not succeed. For some guys, it works. Jack Gallagher, it works. Neville can be both a high flyer and a mat wrestler. It works for him, but it doesn't. Not Drew Gulak. Actually, yeah, Drew Gulak, it can work for him. It works for guys like Zack Sabre Jr. and, depending on who he's with, Noam Dar. But it doesn't work for everybody. You can't have Kalisto going in working rest holds because that's not believable for him. So with that said, Kalisto was in a big spot. He was going for the Cruiserweight title. A lot was resting on his shoulders. And it was a decent, it was a solid match, but it was disappointing. I think it probably may have been the worst match of the night. Excluding the main event, we'll get to that. And I was about to say Goldberg. And no, but Baron Corbin came in for the run-in to attack both Brian Kendrick and Kalisto. Now, not that I have anything against Baron Corbin. He was kind of gypped of the SmackDown Survivor Series spot. But still, it was going to play with the storyline of him and Kalisto, which ended up in the chairs match 2 weeks later at TLC. But when you look at it, SmackDown did not win clean in this one. SmackDown did not win, period, in this match. Raw did. So when you look at the scoreboard, let's look at the matches so far. We had 4 matches so far. 2 singles matches and 2 Survivor Series matches. In both Survivor Series matches, Team Raw won. In the Survivor Series, in the Intercontinental title match, the SmackDown did win, but only by cheating. He needed help. Not a clean win whatsoever. And oh god, what was I gonna say? And the Cruiserweight title, Raw won. That's 3-1 right there, and I can't even say that's really more 4-0 because Miz had to cheat, which hurt the booking of the match and eventually of the entire show. I was so fearful that they were going to give Raw all the big wins or all the clean wins on this show because they're too afraid to give anyone to SmackDown for whatever fucking reason. I don't know. But still, it was really, really stupid. But so to have the booking like that as it was. So I was really fearful going into this match. Now, granted, I knew this would probably be the best match of the night, and it was. This match was freaking awesome. The Survivor Series match between Team Raw, which was Kevin Owens, who was the Universal Champion, Chris Jericho, Roman Reigns, who was the United States Champion, Chris Jericho, Braun Strowman, and Seth Rollins, and they were up against AJ Styles, who was the WWE Champion, Dean Ambrose, Shane McMahon, who replaced Baron Corbin, and Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, who were doing the whole Wyatt family thing, and Orton was a member of the Wyatt family at the time. Although as of recording this, it was only a ruse. Overall, great match. I can't go into many details because that would take way too long. This match went over 40 minutes. Finally, a match that actually did good amount of time for a Survivor Series match. In fact, it went overtime, in a sense. I felt that a couple minutes could have been shaved off, but other than that, this was a fucking great match. Everybody got a chance to shine here. Even James Ellsworth. And he wasn't even in the match. The first man eliminated was... God, who was the first guy eliminated? It must have been Dean Ambrose. Because... yeah, it was Dean Ambrose who got eliminated first. Because, and that was about 15, 20 minutes into the match where Dean Ambrose already got plenty of time to do some stuff. He and Styles, who were feuding at the time and would finish their feud 2 weeks later, officially, or unofficially that is, they ended up fighting against each other. Shane tried to break him up. Dean attacked Styles. I think it was Dean that actually, even though Styles may have been an instigator, Dean attacked Styles first, physically. And then Styles attacked Dean. And then Braun Strowman hit Ambrose with the running power slam, which, for Braun Strowman, that looks freaking devastating. Dean got pinned. He got pinned. So he was the first guy gone. It would not be the last time seeing him though. Braun Strowman ended up getting eliminated after Shane McMahon put an elbow through the announcer's table from the ring, a la several matches, but the one that comes to mind is his match with Vince McMahon at WrestleMania 17. Braun Strowman would have got back in the ring, but James Ellsworth helped out with the elimination, and because he was about to get in the ring, Ellsworth held his foot, and he was counted out. Good way to protect Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman ended up destroying Ellsworth by throwing him off the stage. That was cool. Then it was 4-4 for a little while, for just a little bit. It was 4-4 for a little bit. Sorry about that. I can hear my dad. God, I forget. Oh, okay, what happened was Styles attacked Jericho on the apron at one point. He was about to hit Kevin Owens for the Styles Clash. No. He hit Chris Jericho. He hit Kevin Owens on the apron. He was about to give Chris Jericho Styles Clash, and Kevin Owens hit Styles with the list of Jericho, got himself disqualified. Jericho was freaking out, trying to gather up all his papers. He ended up getting fucking destroyed by, I believe it was Randy Orton. They gave him an RKO and pinned his ass. So it ended up being 4-on-2. Styles, Shane, Bray, and Randy against Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns. As the match went on, Seth Rollins got plenty of offense. Shane McMahon got eliminated by Roman Reigns after a botched spear and partially a botched coast to coast. Roman Reigns just didn't hit the move in time. Fucking destroyed Shane McMahon. This guy is not keep in mind, Shane's not a full-time wrestler. And Shane, it looked like he almost raised his shoulder, but he didn't. But he was like, the guy was out of it. This guy looked like he was completely out of it. Like, he was in pain. You could tell. Or if he was not in pain, he looked like he was in shock. They didn't pin him. He just kind of was sent to the back, saying he can't physically compete at this point. That probably would have been the spot, though, where Shane would have been pinned. They just couldn't. Why they didn't do it, and they just completely pinned, I have no idea. I think that was just the referee trying to check on Shane, make sure he was okay. After that, it was 3-on-2 for a little while. We got a nice little bit between Seth Rollins and AJ Styles, which was pretty fun to watch. These guys need to have another singles match. They haven't had a singles match since 2006, when Seth Rollins was Tyler Black and was just starting out, and AJ Styles was the X Division star and tag team star in TNA, and had just left Ring of Honor that year. And back when he was using his short trunks instead of his long tights. Anyways, Seth Rollins, but then eventually Team SmackDown got the upper hand. Dean Ambrose came out to attack AJ Styles. Rollins, and Reigns got the old Shield triple power bomb on him through a table. He was eliminated. I think Reigns pinned him. Who cares? One of the guys pinned him. So now it's 2-on-2. It was Randy and Bray against Roman and Seth, and then Seth got eliminated after he did a pretty high looking frog splash, but instead of hitting a target, he hit Randy Orton and suckered into an RKO. So another great RKO from Randy Orton. Will this guy ever come up with anything else? But still, I'm kidding. More RKOs out of nowhere, please. But I was really worried. Hang on a second. Recording, Mom. Thank you. Talking to myself. I do talk to myself sometimes, but not like that. Anyways, so Orton and Bray, I was so worried that Roman Reigns was going to have the old. How many times have we seen the Vince McMahon with the wrong wrestlers try the Superman comeback? the superhero comeback, or he against all the odds does that thing. It's worked a few times. It worked with Steve Austin. It worked with Daniel Bryan. There's a difference between Roman Reigns and those two. Austin and Bryan were actually over. Reigns is not over. It's a big difference. I was so worried that they were going to give Reigns the Superman spot and just have him beat both Bray and Randy. Thankfully, they didn't do that. He was about to spear Bray. Randy pushed Bray Wyatt out of the way, and Rowan speared Orton instead. And Bray Wyatt hit. It looked sloppy, but it also looked like dangerous, like deadly. A deadly, wicked Sister Abigail pinned Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt, and I think Luke Harper at one point came out to help in the onslaught against. Yeah, he did, because he super kicked Seth Rollins at one point. But Bray Wyatt got the win here. He got a big win, which, considering what happened with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, and Wyatt winning the Elimination Chamber and the WWE title, that was great. That was really, really good. And I was glad that Bray Wyatt had gotten momentum and got the win. I'm really glad that happened. Match is great. This match, other than maybe being just a tad bit too long, because the beginning did feel just a little bit slow. Other than that, great match. I have no complaints about it. Now on to the main event. I know a lot of people were fucking pissed. I wasn't so much pissed as I was shocked about the finish. Goldberg came out. Brock Lesnar came out. Brock Lesnar picked up Goldberg, charged him into the corner. Goldberg pushed him down like a little bitch that he made Lesnar look like to be. Hit Lesnar with a spear. Hit him with another spear. Hit him with a jackhammer. And in 1 minute and 28 seconds, Goldberg pinned Brock Lesnar in his undefeated streak of being pinned or submitted cleanly since WrestleMania 29, when of course Triple H had to get his win back, of course. But yeah, so there is that, and I got to admit I was pretty shocked when that happened. Was it a bad finish? And I guess for some people, it's like, it all depends on where it's going. Because if Brock Lesnar's not getting his win back, then this was fucking pointless. If he is getting his win back, then that's something. I can't say it was a bad finish. I just wish it would have went a few minutes longer. And they did the same thing with Goldberg and Kevin Owens at Fastlane. I'll get to that when I get to Fastlane. So yeah, Goldberg pins Lesnar in 1 minute 28 seconds, and Goldberg gets the big win. And of course, afterward, he was in the Royal Rumble, traded blows with Undertaker, became Universal Champion. No, he's not doing too bad for himself. But here's my thing. I just wish it would have went about 8 or 9 minutes of just nothing brawling. I wish. But I can't say it was horrible. So, what am I overall? And that's how the show ended. The show ended like 20 to 30. I shit you not. The show ended like 30 minutes early. I shit you not, that actually happened. So, that time could have easily been given to the women and to the tag team division. Given 10 more minutes to the women's, 10 more minutes to the tag team division, 20 more minutes to the women's division, if you want, and just go on from there. Or split the time like 50-50, like 15 minutes each or something. Do something. But that was disappointing. So, overall, what are my thoughts on the show? It's not a bad show. None of the matches, in my opinion, were really shitty. They really weren't. But the booking really hurt a lot of the show. It hurt the women's match. It hurt both the title matches. And it hurt both the Cruiserweight and Intercontinental title matches. And to a small degree, it hurt the tag team match. To a degree, it hurt the tag team match. But I gotta say, if you want to, and look, if you're one of the people who didn't really look forward to Survivor Series, check out the match between basically Team Owens versus Team Styles, basically, is what I would call it. And that match was awesome. So with that said, not a bad show, just not the best. Not the best either. So until then, guys, be well, stay safe. I'll see you next time with my TLC review, hopefully tomorrow. Till next time, guys, peace.